Hello and welcome back to Bible Basics. This is our second episode. If you missed our first episode, basically it was just an introduction to the channel, what we want to cover, how we're going to cover it, basically with the philosophy of this channel, which is to lead people towards a relationship to God, not necessarily religion. On today's episode, we're going to cover what type of Bible we're going to be reading, the different types of Bibles in the world, the different types of versions of the Bible that we're going to read, how we're going to plan to study the Bible, like which method we're going to use. We're going to go over why it's important to read/study the Bible. I'll give a recap for next episode, and then we'll finish off with the question of the day. So let's start off. So we'll be reading off the Christian Bible. So the Christian Bible is made up of two sections, the Old Testament and the New Testament. There are over 66 books, and there are about 40 authors in the whole Bible. So the New Testament, that's where Jesus comes in. I'll give some history like when we read those books, but that's where Jesus comes in, and then that's when the early church is established. More than half the Old Testament is written by one person. We'll go over who he is and his contributions. And then the Old Testament, it's basically a lot of history. Doesn't mean it's not useful, but there's just a lot of history as far as the Israelites, how they came to be, some prominent figures in their history. So we'll go over that, and we'll go into more detail when we get to those books. So the different types of Bibles in the world would be, one of them is the Torah. It is the first 5 books of the Bible. That is the Jewish Bible. So they have the same exact first 5 books of the Bible. The Catholic Bible, they have 6 additional books. So they added 6 additional books. I haven't read them, to be honest with you, but I don't think there's anything bad in them. Just whoever came up with the 2 different Bibles, they came up with these 2 different types of Bibles. Then there's the Quran, which is the Islamic Bible. There aren't any specific books that are similar to the Bible, but they do reference a lot of stories that are in the Bible. So I just thought it was relevant. So there's hundreds of versions of the Bible, actually, the one that we're reading. And today I'm going to cover just 5. The first 2 are the King James Version and the New King James Version. So the King James Version is just famous because it was like the first version of the Bible that was written for like the masses. But it was written in 1601. So a lot of the words are like thou and beloved, stuff like that. The New King James Version is just an updated version of the King James Version. That one came out in 1975. That one's a more modern, but both of these translations are known as like word for word. Basically, they take the text and they just literally just translate it. So some of the words don't make sense, or like the grammar doesn't really add up. So I don't really recommend those 2. But I have the New King James Version. It's just a little confusing. The next 2 I'm gonna cover is the New International Version and the New Living Translation. So the NIV, that's my favorite, is came out in 1984. I just think it's easier to read and understand. Next is the New Living Translation. This is good for someone who's not familiar with the Bible and is a good reader. That version would work well for that person too. These 2 translations are known something as thought for thought. Basically, what they did is they take the intended scripture and then they kind of adjust it to the language. So they take the same basic concept, but they change it to the language. So that's why I think they flow a lot better. And the last one that I want to cover is called The Message. So this one's just a paraphrase. It's like summarizes the Bible. It's good for to get like a different perspective. It's also shorter and concise. So if you're a little intimidated by reading the Bible, don't know where to start, I would probably The Message would be a good start for you. So how we're going to plan on studying the Bible? We're going to plan on studying the Bible using the SOAP method. That's SOAP. S stands for scripture. O is observation. A is application. And then P is practical/prayers. So for scripture, we're literally just going to write the scripture that we're reading. O is observation. I like to think of it as like summarizing what you just read. A is application. So how do you take what you just read and apply it to your life? So what does it mean then? And then how can you apply it to your life now? And then P, practical/prayers. So how can you take what you just learned and apply it to yourself and practically use it throughout the week? Or if like the scripture really spoke to you, how can you pray about it to get more in depth? What does it challenge you to pray about? All right. So why is it important to read/study the Bible? I think the main reason you get to know God better through His Word, His personality, His thinking, and how He loves. So God has a very complex personality. It's not like one note. He has different types of emotions. He gets angry. He loves. He feels sadness. All these different things that you wouldn't really associate with God. So his personality is pretty complex, and you get to understand him through the Word. Also, I feel like the Bible still holds good truths in how we should live and treat each other. There's literally a book in the Bible called Proverbs, which is known as like the wisdom writings, and basically that one, it has like a lot of like wisdom sayings, so a lot of stuff that can still apply to this day. And then also, the Bible speaks to us when we need it most. I can't tell you how many times I've gone through like tough times and I'm praying and I'm asking for confirmation. I'm asking God to like show me what way I should take. Then I read the Bible and someone's going through something similar, or Jesus teaching, or anything, and I feel like God speaks to me, and it kind of gives me more direction in my life. So let me give you a little preview for next week's episode. So we're gonna finally start reading the Bible. So we'll start reading Matthew. We'll read Matthew 1. I'll give a brief summary of the book, and then I'll talk about Matthew, who is the author of the book, and then we'll do the soap and continue. And then to finish off, I just want to give the question of the day. So, what's your view of God? Is it positive, negative? But how do you view God? And that's it. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Comment down below the question of the day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.